So before I played the bore fest that was Devil May Cry 2 for my review, I actually tried out Devil May Cry 3 to see if it is the hardest game in the series. And they weren't wrong. This game is hard on normal mode with no understanding of the combos. Until I found out that easy mode was selectable, and then I actually had a fighting chance. So, I decided to play this game till the 7th mission for a review. So without further ado,
let's rock!
So the game starts off with Dante. We start off the game with Dante refusing a call from a customer, saying that he wasn't open for business yet. We then see the suspicious man standing in front of Dante's office. Then he comes in unannounced.
Excuse me, what the actual are you doing in my house?
The man asks if he is Dante, the son of Sparta, to which Dante asks him where he heard that from, and he says from Dante's brother. The man then takes a few seconds to stare at Dante's pecs, and says Virgil sent him an invitation. And then he flips the desk out of nowhere. But after Dante does some sick flips and catches a pizza with style, he goes in for a big bite and then he gets tackled and stabbed by demons out of nowhere. And in turn, his response is... He then casually walks over to the jukebox and tries to play some music.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock!
Funny thing is that this happened 2 years later in the DMC anime. So after we get the coolest action scene in fiction ever, we get to experience the controls in combat for the first time. I got nothing much to say about the movement controls in this game other than, it's aight. But for the combat in this game, it's obviously over 9,000 times better than the combat in DMC 2. Here's a comparison. In DMC 2, you could just beat the game with your gun. Meanwhile, in DMC 3, it actually takes skill. So, in the game, you start off with Dante's iconic sword named Rebellion, and the guns named Ebony and Ivory. And I still haven't mastered the combos in this game, because I always spend too many red orbs on health instead of upgrades. And with the guns, let's be honest, the only time we ever use guns in Devil May Cry is in Devil May Cry 2, and when you're far away from an enemy and still want to deal damage. But for the combos, I use the High Time move and the Stinger, mostly because they're fun to use. And this game introduces styles, and the style you choose can change the way you and your weapons play. So you have Trickster, which makes you better at avoiding attacks using evasive movements, Swordmaster, where you can master the different melee weapons and max the weapon's power, Gunslinger, where you can master different weapons and max each gun's technique, and last, everyone's favorite move,
Royal Guard! Royal Guard!
With this move, you can block enemy attacks and parry attacks with a perfectly timed press of the circle button. And oh, don't worry, I won't sugarcoat it because I still can't time it correctly. So after we clear the enemies out in his shop for the first mission, we see now that his shop is a wreck. For obvious reasons. Then Dante notices that the box of pizzas somehow survived the fight, and he goes in for another pizza slice. And then after Dante breaks down the door, we start Mission 2. Mission 2 starts off with Dante being upset that his shop that he didn't even choose a name for yet is on the brink of falling apart. It tells the demons that haven't attacked him yet for some reason that they're gonna pay. And then we get a really cool dress-up scene that's nothing to sneeze at. I just said it's nothing to sneeze at! Then we slice up some enemies and come to fight most people's nightmare if you don't know how to do Royal Guard, and play the game on normal. Cause remember, normal equals hard. But since we're playing on easy mode, and holding down Royal Guard button decreases the amount of damage you take with enemy hits, you can beat this boss no problem. And after we successfully don't beat the Grim Reaper, we get a cutscene where the tower emerges from the ground with Virgil standing on top. Dante then questions where the time has gone, because it's been over a year since him and Virgil last met. We then see the suspicious man named Arkham starts talking to Virgil about how happy he is that the Temini Gru has revived, and how it will be able to fulfill its intended purpose.
That's none of my concern.
Virgil then asks if Dante has the amulet, and Arkham says that he does and that he's taking good care of it, because it was the only memento left from their mom that died. Virgil then says that Dante doesn't know of its true power. Then the Grim Reaper, who we did not kill, comes up to see Virgil. Even Arkham is shocked of the Reaper's death. We then see a new woman, who we currently don't know the name of yet, saying that she found it. And she's using binoculars as if she couldn't see the giant tower that's right in front of her. Anyways, some demons try to sneak up on her, and she burns them alive with the flames from her motorcycle. And the demons that burn to death conveniently lay in the shape of a number 3. And this is a reoccurring thing in the game, where they show the mission number you're going to play next in the cutscene. And it's such a small detail that I love for some reason. We then start mission 3, where I for some reason start off playing the mission as if it was DMC 2. But then I continue playing the game as intended, by committing mass destruction for profit. We then equip the shotgun, and do agreeably the second most fun thing to do in the game, besides doing
Royal Guard! Woo! Ha! Woo! Ha!
We then kill a few badass demons, use red orbs to buy vital stars. Vital stars are only for the weak, so I need them. And then we encounter Cerberus. And even though Dante tries to calm Cerberus down, it tries to make Dante into a Dante sickle, so we have to assert dominance by shooting and slaying it. Okay now. This boss is actually a gatekeeper, and believe it or not, a lot of people actually have not beaten this game because of this boss being so difficult. Even in easy mode, I was getting my ass handed to me. But after downing a few vital stars like candies, I eventually beat the boss. Cerberus then acknowledges Dante's ability, and for some reason turns into nunchucks. But I'm not going to complain at all, because we then get this badass scene with Dante trying out his new weapon. And with this weapon, we get to hear Dante do a Bruce Lee scream every time he does this. And now we get a scene where the girl we saw before the third mission busts through the ice wall Cerberus made, almost running into Dante in the process. And once she lands, Dante asks her why she's in a hurry, to which she answers with firing a missile. And little do people know, this is actually the first instance where Dante does the crazy frog. She then proceeds to almost hit Dante again so that she can go into the hole that Dante made with her missile.
This just keeps getting better and better.
We then see Virgil and Arkham chilling, but then Virgil's uninvited lady senses start tingling. Arkham then says that he should ask the uninvited one to leave, and continues to say that he's acquainted with said woman.
A storm is approaching.
And before we start mission 4, I get my favorite rebellion ability, called Stinger. With this move, you can do this. Which is honestly a much better way of going faster in this game, because after a quick Google search, I found out that there isn't a speed upgrade like in DMC4, so if you're on a red orb budget, Stinger will be your best friend to go faster. Now we start off mission 4, and since we beat the gatekeeper, now this game has become a puzzle-solving hell. So for the 4th mission, we need to find a key to the stars, so we have to play the game to the best of our ability, go on an elevator platform, kick some ass, get more health by obtaining the last quarter of a blue orb fragment, do some really cool platforming over a hole, go into this room and go up the stair, oh shit, fight some enemies, and then we get to fight this centipede monster. And I remember the first time I got to this boss, I didn't know I could go on its back and attack it with the sword, so I spent a long time shooting this thing to death. Anyways, after killing the centipede, a new door unlocks, so we go into it, and acquire the astronomical board. After that, we get a cutscene where we see Dante trying to exit the room that he just entered, and after a simple little nudge doesn't do anything, he tries to bust down the door. Just as we think Dante's going to shoot the door down, he gets interrupted by a clown named Jester. Jester says that Dante's tricks will do no good in opening the door, but since he knows about this place, he tries to give Dante hints on how he can open up the door. Though Jester's hints are getting Dante double triggered, so he makes Jester dance. After Dante stops the shooting, Jester gives another annoying hint, to which Dante pulls out his sword and attempts to kill him, but misses and hits the generator, to which the door opens. Dante shoots the clown out of the room and thanks him. We then head to mission 5, where Jester does a blood summon to bring demonic birds back to life for us to kill. These things are freaking annoying, but after we fight them, it unlocks a teleporter so we could fight Jester. And honestly, this boss is one of my favorites in the game because of how goofy it is, and the cutscene after you beat him is just gold.
Oops. Whew.
After beating the boss, you go into the teleporter and back into the main room of the tower and insert the astronomical board into the mechanism here. And that in turn pushes back some walls that were blocking us and summons a red jump pad. And after this point, I get lost for a bit, because mission 5, 6, and 7 always ties my brain into knots. My brain rotted so bad that I didn't even notice that I walked right past what I needed to progress. But after I finally noticed the shine that was really hard to miss, I grabbed it and obtained the Vajra. And with this ornament, we were able to go into the living statue room and stab a pitchfork into a mechanism that lifts the gate so that we can obtain another item called the Soul of Steel. And with that, we can go into the room where the stairs fell, and now we can defy the laws of gravity and unlock a door, where we see another elevator. But in this case, there's some waves of enemies that we have to beat up so the elevator doesn't get weighed down and fall. Which at this point, hopefully you have the Cerberus equipped, because ranged weapons here are a lifesaver. So after successfully clearing the enemies, we get a cutscene where Dante walks into a room with these two statue-looking guards. And the first guard says that they finally have company, to which the other guard says that they must entertain their guests, and the other guard says that they have to be gracious hosts, and the other guard wonders what they should do, and the other guard says that they have to come up with something. Then the other guard notices that the guests sigh. The other guard asks what sigh means. Then the other guard starts explaining what sigh is.
Enough already! How long are you two gonna keep carrying on like this? In case you didn't get the hint, I'll spell it out. You're a guest. Wants to go through. Got it?
The statues then say that their job is guarding the door, and we find out that the statue-looking guards are actually these headless demons wielding weapons with talking heads on them, but I honestly really like their designs. Anyways, we get to fighting both guards at once, and that means that they both have health bars, and a pretty fun thing happens when you beat the first guard. And if you thought that the first phase of this boss was hard, just prepare yourself to get your ass handed to you in the second phase. And fun fact about this boss, if you're fighting against the red guard, you can actually use Cerberus on him to get more damage, because the red guard is a fire character, and the Cerberus is an ice weapon. So after that boss is done, we get a cutscene where Dante walks away from the two swords, and before Dante can go any further, the two swords stop him and say that they've been waiting a long time for someone stronger than them, and for someone who can control them. And then we finally get their names. The red one is Agni, and the blue one is Rudra, and they say that they can be of great help for Dante. And then Dante says that he'll take them, but only under one condition.
No talking.
They obey his wishes, and then he does some really cool moves with the newly obtained weapons.
No talking. Good.
And now we get a new cutscene where we see the girl from quite a few cutscenes ago is walking alone, only to be rudely interrupted by some enemies trying to hurt her. And in turn, we get some really badass moves, and in the end of the cutscene, she releases a missile to kill all the enemies, lands safely, and then walks away for the camera to pan on the ground to show that we are now starting the 6th mission. And let me tell ya, if you are not good at riddles, you might as well just look up a YouTube tutorial, because at the beginning of the stage, you see that there is a weird stone structure pointing at a door that has a pile of rubble at it, and in order to clear said rubble, we need to obtain 2 or 3 items, and to obtain them, you need to go into this room with 3 doors. And you don't need to do them in any order, nor do you need to do all 3. You only need to go into the 3rd one if you want a new weapon. So, the green door is the Trial of the Warrior, to which you need to activate 2 switches and kill some enemies, and then you'll be able to acquire the Essence of Fighting. Easy enough if you know what you're doing, because there's a catch in this room that I still don't understand. Now, the yellow door is a trial of skill, which you need to avoid getting spiked, and then you acquire the Essence of Technique. And now that you've acquired those 2 items, you can just go back and plop them into the stone structure. But if you're like me and like weapons, sit back and let me tell you what you need to do for the 3rd trial. So, the white door, the Trial of Wisdom, has 3 doors in each room, all doors with a different amount of lights on them. And in order for you to obtain the item, you need to go through the doors in order. And in order for you to know which door to go into, you need to know the riddle of the Sphinx. So, the riddle goes, what walks in 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs in the afternoon, 3 legs in the evening, and no legs at night? And the answer is a man. A baby walks in all 4s in the morning, and the morning in this case is childhood. The baby grows to be a man and walks on 2 legs in adulthood. Then the man gets older and needs a cane to help him walk in old age, and he finally dies. So once you get to the door with the 3 lights, you can get the Essence of Intelligence. Then you can go back through the 4 lighted door. Congratulations! Now you can put the 2 items into the structure and watch as it uses a laser to destroy the rubble. And then you can insert the last item to equip Artemis. And now we can go into the blue door, store, where we get a new cutscene where we see the girl is reloading her guns. But just as she's about to walk away, she hears Arkham. She then points a gun at him, and he says that she's grown stronger.
Go to hell.
He then questions her decisions at pointing a gun at her father, to which she says that her mom was the only family that she had, and that her mom is dead, and tries to shoot Arkham. But for some reason, he has the ability of teleportation, and can hang upside down on things. She then gets defeated by a book to the face from Arkham, and he yeets her off the tower. And she actually does manage to land a shot on him, but it's just a scratch. And in the next cutscene, we see that she is still falling, but Dante takes notice of this and catches her. She then points a gun at his face and tells him to let her go. He then said it would be a waste if she ended up as just a pretty stain, and then he gets shot in the head, and she saves herself with her launcher. Then Dante asks why she just shot the man who tried to help, and then she shoots him again, but this time he somehow catches the bullet with his teeth. She then realizes that he's a demon, and just then, Dante begins to think that he has rotten luck with women. And now we start the final mission for my review. Mission 7. So we start off the 7th mission by beating up some chess pieces so that we can obtain the Ari Helcon fragment. Then we come into this room where we fight some mummy demons that releases evil spirits, and once we clear out this room, a statue drops an item called the Siren Shriek, and with the fragment we collected a few rooms back, we can use that to access the elevator that you probably didn't even know was there. We can finally put out the flames at the door with the Siren Shriek, and then we enter a room with a fake wall we can destroy, and a chain with a ball cage full of demons, I think. Once we destroy it, which can take some time because it's timed and it can go back up if you don't break it fast enough, it'll drop an item called the Crystal Skull. We'll then need to fight some enemies, go back up the elevator, and insert the skull into the stone lock mechanism so that it'll unlock the door. And oh boy, here comes the fun part.
You showed up.
You sure know how to throw a party. No food, no drinks, and the only babe just left.
My sincerest apology, brother. I was so eager to see you, I couldn't concentrate on preparations for the bash.
Whatever. At any rate, it's been a whole year since we last met. How about a kiss from your little brother? Or better yet, how about a kiss from this? So, this is what they call a heartwarming family reunion, eh?
You got that right.
We get to do our first boss fight with Virgil. And if you think that the first fight is hard, that's cause it is. The hardest thing about this boss is dodging Virgil's attacks, cause not only does he have wide-range attacks, he has fast attacks, and you can shoot him a few times before he starts doing this. But man, is this boss ever satisfying when you can constantly hit Virgil with your Cerberus. And fun fact about this boss, sometime during this fight, you'll actually see Virgil's hair go down in the rain. And I think I actually properly timed the Royal Guard to where it hit Virgil. So after we beat Virgil, we get a cutscene with them still fighting. Dante even shoots bullets at Virgil, only for him to catch them with his sword, and throw the bullets right back at him for him to chop in half. This game is so cool. Virgil then asks why Dante refuses to gain the power of their father Sparta, to which Dante sarcastically says that he doesn't have a father, and that he just doesn't like Virgil. Dante then charges at Virgil again, and he tosses the sword out of Dante's hands and stabs him.
Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness.
And now Virgil has the second piece of the amulet, and puts his hair back up. He then picks up the rebellion, and just as we think Dante's about to get back up, Arkham then comes to ask if he finally has the amulet, to which Virgil says yes, and now the spell that Sparta cast will be broken. And as they walk away, Dante's rebellion awakes him, and he tries to attack Virgil again. Ew, the sword's in his hand and it sounds juicy! Dante then tosses Virgil, and just as they're about to fight again, Arkham stops him and says that they should leave. And when Virgil saw how scary Dante looked in that moment, he was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." And even Arkham was intimidated. And a few steps later, Dante unlocks his double trigger mode for the first time, and then he passes out. Next cutscene later, we see Dante getting back up, then he rips off the torn sleeve from his coat and grabs his rebellion. And oh boy, you know something good is about to happen just by the way the music comes in. We then get the best action scene in the history of DMC games. Like, holy shit. The first time I saw this, my jaw was on the floor. And funny thing is that while writing this script, I'm actually watching this cutscene. Why did Dante just get swallowed? Anyways, now it's time for the ranking. Keep in mind, most of the ranking is done with my opinion. I'm going to rank the parts of this game out of 5 red orbs. So, first off, we have the story. This game is actually a prequel to the first 2 games, so the story in this game, in my opinion, fits very well before you play Devil May Cry 1. And even at the end of the 3rd game, you see that Dante's new outfit and office are from the first game. So I rank the story a 4.5 out of 5 red orbs. Combat. The combat in this game is leagues better than the second game. I don't even need to explain. 5 out of 5 red orbs. Moveset. Again, the moveset is 10 times better than it was in DMC 2. The only unfortunate thing is that in all of the DMC games, not including 2, you need to buy the air hike if you want to do a double jump. And throughout my time playing and beating DMC 3, I've never collected enough red orbs to get an air hike. So that's gonna be at 4 out of 5 red orbs. Enemies and bosses. The enemies and bosses in this game are so much better compared to the second game. These enemies actually attempt to hit you rather than... And the bosses. Oh my god, they are so much better. No more of that chopper shit from DMC 2. Get rid of that. Crash it, burn it, throw it off a cliff. This game has you fighting Cerberus and Virgil. Okay, I think you get the point. 5 out of 5 red orbs. Music. The music in this game is what introduced the kind of singer that sounds like they really need to cough, but they make it sound good. And there are 2 versions of Devils Never Cry, but in my opinion, the second one is my favorite because it's connected to the best action scene of the game. Like seriously, the song hits the spot so good! And near the end of Dante's second battle theme, Divine Hate. 5 out of 5 red orbs. Characters. Okay now, you want to see a huge jump in character personality? Okay, first we have DMC2 Dante. This guy looks emo as and even acts emo. Like there's no sign of excitement anywhere in his voice. He barely even talks in this game. Versus DMC3 Dante.
I hope you all have enough to cover all this. Easy, Fido. How about I take you out for a walk? Come on, puppy. Let's go.
Yeah. Huge difference. This is the game that Wacky Woohoo Pizza Man comes into play, and I freaking love it. And on to the other characters. We of course have Dante's brother, Virgil, and he is the, forgive me for saying this, silent but deadly type. And Lady. I don't know why I was keeping her identity a secret for all this video, but she is badass. But her personality also changed a lot over the series. So, Dante, 5 out of 5 red orbs. Virgil, 4.5 out of 5 red orbs. And Lady, 5 out of 5 red orbs. And last off, graphics. The graphics in this game are actually pretty good for a game in 2005. Keep in mind that the graphics are different on the PS2 and HD version. I was playing on the HD collection on my PS3, so it looked a lot cleaner. But I watched a video a few days ago on the texture differences on the PS2 versus HD versions of the game, and the biggest, most noticeable difference was Dante's hair, as you can see. But it honestly seems like that's only an issue sometimes for the PS3 version, because as you can see, the first cutscene for me, his hair was like it would be on the PS2. But other than graphical changes, I'm going to rank the HD version's graphics a 4 out of 5 red orbs. The reason I put it so low is because, man, come on, I just want to see Dante's beautiful eyes in the cutscenes. But yeah, that's it for the review. I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, give it a like and sub to the channel if you want to. Also comment what your thoughts and opinions are on this game if you've played it or beaten it, and share this video with your friends. And we'll see you next time. Bye guys!
Footsteps that never follow. If you want to live tomorrow, still a soul for second chance.